The show is about to begin.
Hang in there, it is!
Smylie Kaufman for 61. Wow.
Featuring Smylie Kaufman.
If you're at a local IHOP at a PGA TOUR event, you might see Hideki Matsuyama.
Put it up in the stance, strengthen the grip.
His co-host, Charlie Hulme.
We've now picked 5 of the last 8 winners on the PGA Tour.
Oh, just go in the hole. Please go in the hole. Please go in the hole. Please go in the hole. Yes, sir!
And the biggest names in golf.
That's a great question. Can I talk about it?
I don't think I'm ready.
How good does it get, SK?
Why not us, Troy?
Today, live from the Pinecrest Inn, it's the Smylie Show. So long, everybody.
This is the Smylie Show.
We're live.
Pretty good dismount.
Pretty good dismount. It's been far too long since we vibed out behind the scenes to the minimal house music, fired an intro, and did a little live show here.
Man, it used to be painful too. It was this, uncoordinated clicking of the mouse of trying to get from one screen to the next. But we're making some pretty good leaps forward in 2026. Not too bad. You're pretty sharp over there, Hume.
We're pros now. We're on the Golf Channel. We got the dismounts correct. I mean, it's one of those things that it was so bad for a while. It was like almost like I was doing a bit. And I can assure you that I was not doing a bit. I was just that bad at figuring out how to dismount on the streaming software. So here we are, though. We're going live. We're doing it live.
Doing it live.
And honestly, I'll be frank, Smylie. We could have done it live probably 3 or 4 hours ago. This takes the new Smylie Show record for the previous record holder was Hideki Matsuyama at the genesis of can we just go ahead and record now because why are we still waiting on the outcome of this tournament?
We definitely did for Hideki, 1,000%. We fired that thing up pretty straight away. I mean, there was nobody catching Hideki that day. That was insane. But yeah, it felt that way. Shoot, I mean, after the Friday round, it felt like this thing was on ice. That's just how good Justin Rose played. So if you had an opportunity to watch some golf, which I'm sure a lot of people did, based on the temperatures in Birmingham, Alabama, and even all the way down into South Florida, I'm sure there were plenty of people without football on, got to watch Justin Rose put on a clinic this weekend.
I was looking at, I think it was the live odds, maybe the third hole on Saturday for Rose. And it was
third hole on Saturday. Okay.
Third hole on Saturday. So we still have, let's think about this. We still have 32 holes left to play in this tournament. And he was minus 500 to win, not plus 500, minus 500 to win the golf tournament at that point, which was a really reflection on the dominance we saw the first 2 days, which is insane what he did. He set the new scoring record at the Farmers Insurance Open, 23 under, which breaks Tiger Woods' previously held record of 22 under. I saw this. Doug Ferguson of the Associated Press had this in one of his articles. I love this so much. We just came off the birdie fest at the Amex, right? We talked about, got to go out there, got to go low, got to make a million putts. Leading score after 36 holes in La Quinta, 17 under. That was the exact same score to par that Justin Rose was after 36 holes at Torrey Pines. Now, obviously, we know Smylie, one of those rounds on the less difficult North course. But if you kind of zoom out and compare his scoring to the field, his 62 at the North course on Thursday was 7.1 shots lower than the field average. And then he went out and did it again on the more difficult South course, of course, the U.S. Open venue. His 65 there was 7.4 shots lower than the field average. So just insanely good golf from Justin Rose. And as we kind of dig into this specific event, I want to kind of zoom out first and go big picture, because you and I were sitting here, golly, a couple months ago, looking back at the 2025 season, giving out our superlatives, our awards for the year. And I forget the exact award we gave Rosie, but we were saying, man, this guy, he took Rory McIlroy to a playoff in the 2025 Masters. He won a FedEx Cup playoff event. Then, as you were there on the course, witnessing with your own eyes, did some truly absurd things at Bethpage Black.
It's stupid.
En route to a European Ryder Cup victory. And he did all this at the age of 45. So where I want to begin, Smylie, is just how impressive his form is at this stage of his career.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it was Insane what he was able to do this entire week at Torrey Pines, coming off of a miscut at the Amex, which I credit a little bit to the travel that he had to deal with. Multiple players did, going from TGL all the way to it was TGL all the way to the Amex. I mean, that was like a 5-hour trip on a Tuesday night. I remember seeing those guys Wednesday, and they all kind of wiped out to me. And Rosie just got to a slow start on Thursday. I think he was 1 over at the La Quinta through certain amount of holes and then played well the rest of the time. Just didn't quite do enough to get over the hump. But still, overall, I just thought it was, coming into this week, we talked about a lot of names, and Rosie wasn't necessarily one of them. He was the guy that we expect to, play well, top 10, top 20 seemed like a no-brainer. But to do what he did this week, that it didn't surprise me, but it also just it's a friendly reminder of when Justin Rose is at his best. Better watch out, because he seems to find his best and be able to play at an elite level and against anybody, just about as good as anybody in the game. And so with that at 45 years old and going back and looking at his resume, Charlie, it's a fun one to look at. It really is, because what he's been able to accomplish, 13 now wins on the PGA Tour, a win in the US Open, and just the venues that he's won at. I just thought it was interesting to go back and look at that. Memorial, Congressional, won at Doral, Marion, Colonial, Torrey now twice, Pebble Beach. That's some pretty big boy golf on some classic venues right there.
As we like to do here on the show, like to bring the audience behind the curtain, like to peel back the curtain a little bit. And we've got, I believe this is Gary. The handle switched from platform to platform, saying disagree elite production here. And I just wanted to highlight there what just happened behind the scenes, which is this is how professional we've got. Smylie changed mic sources mid-answer without missing a beat. All right. Like that's how good we're getting here on the show. So, nice. If anyone noticed the change in audio quality, nice play there, Smylie. And to extend on Justin Rose, just the career longevity, as you mentioned, and I think the thing that it was mentioned a couple times in the broadcast, and I really want to have you unpack a little bit deeper, is to play good golf at that age, there has to be a real commitment to, in every phase, working out, dieting, everything, but the golf game itself, a process and a routine, right? And just a thoroughness in every aspect of your game. It's something we talked about of late with Cam Young. It's something we talked about in discussing Scotty Scheffler. Justin Rose was first in strokes gain approach for the most of this week. You had a post on X about his pre-shot routine that he actually responded to. And so I'd love for you to break down a little bit, what is Justin looking to do and working on in the full swing, and why is that right now such a good recipe for him?
Well, if you haven't watched Rosie work on this swing, I mean, he does it every single shot, and he does not stop in the pre-shot routine. So it's something he's constantly working through, and to be able to do it at 45 years old, super interesting, because back in 2023, he invested in a recovery RV trailer. When I had him on Happy Hour, we were briefly talking about just his age and how he's feeling post Memphis. He's like, it's nice to have this trailer. I was like, oh, tell me more. And he has this custom RV with all of the things he needs in there when it comes to cold plunge, RV. I'm sure there's infrared things, PT tables, I'm sure. But the investment that he's made in himself to be able to play at this level, I think is what you need to do probably at that age. I tell you, I feel it at 34. I can't imagine 10 years from now what it feels like. But he's able to keep up in a day in which the speeds are going up and up and up, where guys are coming on the tour, smashing the golf ball. Rosie hits it hard, and he keeps it up there with the best of them for the most part. But yeah, I probably would point to that, and just his commitment from having Mark Blackburn be his guy, and just staying with the process. He doesn't ever veer off of it, and he's very, very tough on himself and all the people on his team. I mean, he's not a guy when he's unhappy you want to go talk to, because that is somebody who's just very determined and diligent with
every single part of his process. And they talked about it all the time on the broadcast. But when you watch it firsthand and just see how dialed he is and how specific he is to every aspect of his game, there's a reason why he's able to win by 7 shots on the PGA Tour. It's because of all of the little things that he does and the investment that he gives himself to give him the opportunity to play it at this crazy level.
Yeah, the Team Rose is obviously a legendary and ongoing point of discussion for many in the media. So it's but I mean it is a facetious, it's a joke at times, but it's really, you know, when you get to that age and you have all these things, the recovery,
Yeah.
RV, and all, like it's,
Well, hold
it's a huge-
on. Do you think we can go to our wives and say, let's invest in a recovery RV? You know, how far did that conversation go, you think?
Man, it's like, what's the hang up? Where's the no? Is the no?
Let's say money's not a
Is the
factor.
no? If money's not a factor,
Let's say there's like other things that are comparable money wise,
Okay.
and you're given the option of 4 different things, and the RV is one of them.
That's
and 3
right.
others are things that are good for the family, or
That's
you know,
right.
a travel jet card, whatever it might be.
Right.
And then here you are. It's like, you know what? Let's go with option D. You know, let's go with the custom RV for myself. And hey, Anna
yeah.
Carter can come watch me get in the jacuzzi here in the backyard. Should be good family fun back here.
It's like so can we do some hardscaping in the backyard? No, unfortunately we spent that money on the recovery RV, but
New
like
house?
maybe
Nope.
in a couple years,
Mm-mm.
you know, I'm sure he just tells his family, hey, this thing's got to pay for itself. That's the sales job. Once I start winning golf tournaments, this thing's practically it's not only is it
Free
free,
money.
it's
Free
making
money.
money. So I mean, why would we not do it? I mean, it's crazy. It's just you're handing it away. Yeah, it's such a funny tangent because I entered a number of similar conversations here at home after I installed our putting green. It's like, hey, so what if we did this in the front yard? Well, the thing is that was the putting green, buddy. So maybe like 2 or 3 years.
I mean,
Didn't land as well as Justin Rose's recovery RV, unfortunately.
Okay, this is what ChatGPT says is inside: infrared sauna and steam shower, hot and cold plunge bath, ice bath, oxygen machine chamber, red light therapy bed, spin bike with oxygen. Don't know what that is, but I think I need that. When I get on that Peloton, I'm grasping for air.
Do you think you could have an RV big enough where you could fit like a simulator in it too?
Oh god. Okay.
Can you imagine a
Okay.
recovery RV with the sim in the back?
That's one of the options that you had. So when we were talking about the jet card
It was one or the
simulator,
other?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. So yeah, just to kind of tie the loop on Justin a little bit here, you know, we talked about just the swing itself, the routine there. Putting. That putter got so hot at Bethpage, and you were, you know, alongside him, maybe in his best putting effort of the entire weekend when I believe it was him and Tommy Fleetwood playing against Scotty and Bryson. I remember he had that little kind of thing where he tucked in the shirt and his shoulder for a while. He's very methodical. This week, I think it was like 8 in strokes game putting, so very solid performance. And you know, the ball striking was the elite thing, but he gave himself looks and he converted those looks. What does he do? What are the routines in his putting approach and his setup that really help him succeed there?
Well, I think his setup and his lines are terrific. No, not shocking. It seems like Phil Kenyon, of course, is undisputed the best putting coach in the game.
Yeah.
And he just has all his guys just like set up, just looks so good. And the amount of times that we talk to players or coaches,
You with Cam Young.
they always
Setup.
talk about setup. Ludvig talks about setup. And you understand that as a player because week to week to week, things kind of get a little off and change. And a lot of times that affects whether it be the path or just how you're delivering the face. So yeah, it does make sense to be whatever your square is day in and day out. And I feel like Phil's got a really good way of getting these guys to kind of calibrate every single day. But I love his putting stroke. I think it's tough to putt on Poana greens. I've always struggled on them, but it's one of his best surfaces when you go look at the data. He putts really well on Poana. But yeah, I mean, he did everything really, really good this week. And I think the one statistic that I'd like to point out from 2025, we kind of talked about how great of a year he did, and he had a great year. But off the tee, that's something that hasn't been necessarily a strong suit of his really over the last 5 or 6 years. When you go look back, he's really never been inside the top 30 over the last 5 years. But when you go back really to 2014 to 2018, he was actually an elite driver of the golf ball. And I imagine when you play on the PGA Tour as long as he has, it's been a bit cyclical with this game. Like he's had years where he's had, really top iron plays, some really good driving, some solid putting. And I think when you start to blend these weeks where you show that Rose has the ability to be an elite in every single category, you see what we saw at Torrey Pines this week. Now, I think you've seen a little bit of inconsistencies last year, but you saw hot pockets when he would drive it well. The iron game would be there, and the putting is super consistent, like we just talked about, and he contends for major championships. So moving forward, I mean, honestly, like if you see more good driving weeks like we saw this week, and can get and can improve on that statistic off the tee, I mean, gosh, it just feels like he can get to left flags, right flags by just aiming at it, and it just it falls just slightly one way or the other. It's beautiful to watch.
At 7:22 p.m. Eastern, I wonder how many of the people in the comments just heard you say hot pockets and started to think about a little late night snack. There was a little, that's starting to sound really good right about now. You said I was tracking with you on performances, and then you said hot pockets. My mind just went somewhere else entirely.
I am kind of eating a hot pocket tonight. It's a like a chicken and cheese wrap situation with some salsa. It's not exactly the OG hot pocket, but hey,
what is OG's just like little pepperoni bits, little kind of like chopped pepperoni bits, cheese sauce.
I think, yeah. I ate some hot pockets growing up. It was more SpaghettiOs. It was kind of more the in the rotation.
I have a take that I'm working on. Like hot pockets are too hot. Like when you microwave a hot pocket,
I'm not going to disagree.
You can't get it to the right temperature. You need to leave it for another like 5 to 10 minutes, and even then, you're going to get hot pockets that are hotter than the hot pocket within the hot pocket. If that makes any sense? Like lava pockets in the hot pocket. Someone should make like lukewarm pockets.
Yeah. The thing is as soon as it gets a little bit, at room temperature, it drops quick though.
It does. That's why it's like the tipping point on the hot pocket where it goes from like burning my tongue to inedible. It's like a 45-second window.
Yeah.
You just got to get it right. It's kind of like making scrambled eggs a little bit too. Like
got to eat eggs quick, got to eat queso fast. All these things. We're pros here. We know what we're doing.
We know what we're talking about. There's a comment here. You talked about putting on Poe, and it's a nice little transition, nice little segue here, because we're gonna get to Brooks and the blade, the putting performance this week. We're gonna talk about Brooks now. First, we're gonna talk about the good. Okay, we will get to the putting, but let's start with just what a whirlwind of a week it was for Brooks. It began with that Tuesday press conference where he admitted to nerves, not necessarily for competition, but for sitting in front of the media and taking questions. He had a funny little back and forth with Doug Ferguson. And then after Thursday's round, it was really cool to talk about how much gratitude he had to be welcomed back by the fans. He talked about wanting his son Cruz starting to take up golf and the way that our kids are, and wanting Crew to watch him play. And then by far my favorite Brooks moment of the week was Friday. Grinds down the stretch, makes the cut, met by his wife Jenna and Crew coming off the 18th green. And I'm sure many of you have seen the video on the PGA Tour socials where he's holding Crew and he's like, "Do you see any airplanes today?" And they're up looking around the sky, San Diego, and Crew's telling them all about the airplanes, and it's all animated about it. And I'm like, man, like that is so cool. And for all that they've been through, off the course this past year, like, you can like him or dislike him, the live stuff, however you feel about it. Like that moment was really, really cool. And I'm glad that he got to have that given what he's gone through. So I want to use that as a jumping off point to the good, the fan reaction, the ESPN taking their live, streaming product and putting it on their main channel, Brooks making it to the weekend just barely. We talked about best case, worst case scenarios coming to the week. Does this feel like a win for the tour for Brooks Koepka?
Well, yes, Brooks is back. So yes. And he's still yoked, by the way.
Yeah.
my gosh.
They're I want to lift with him and Goddard up. I just want to just be around those guys.
I just don't know how he gets. How do you get arms that big? I could do biceps every single day for 2 years. It would be half. Still be half. It's just infuriating, really.
Guys loves throwing metal around, man.
No wonder he can't putt.
If somebody's to do a study on that, bicep diameter is inversely proportional to strokes gained putting. That'd be a good one to track.
I say he can't putt. He's obviously made some big putts in his dang career. But all right. So what do I think about Brooks this week? Well, we talked about it in one and done and lead up into the event that Brooks hasn't necessarily had the best record at this place, even though you would think it would be a perfect type of course for him. But I tell you, man, when you start putting on Poana greens and you start missing putts inside of 6 feet, that hole gets very, very small really quick. And his Saturday putting round was abysmal. If you watched any of it, which they were pretty good about cutting over to showing Brooks shots, he had multiple looks inside of 5 feet for birdies. And then next thing you know, I'm listening in the gym trying to get Brooks Koepka arms. And and I'm here, okay, now Koepka for bogey. I'm like, for bogey, you just had a 4-footer. And they finished the round, chipped it up there to 4 feet, 3 putts again for bogey from inside 5 feet. And you're like, I was just blown away at how bad it was. And I can relate to it as somebody who's putted on Poana greens and how frustrating it can be. But the stroke didn't look good. And it's never been a clean stroke. It's always been a very manufactured stroke. And we'll get into that here in a minute. But I was very encouraged by, his middle and long iron play. There's times where he would just hit it. And it just made that sound. And still, Brooks, to me, when I've played with him, and he hits these long irons on par threes, and you're just like, that is the straightest ball I've ever seen with a 4-iron. And you're just like, I would love to be able to do that time and time and again. It just makes it sound, just feels so repeatable with that club. And so I saw a lot of good there, some decent driving. Chipping was pretty solid. The putting it's going to need some work. But apparently too, he went to the Scotty Cameron studio for like 4 hours last night, according to Colt, which if I've been to that studio, it's easy to kind of be there for hours and hours. Charlie, you would never leave. You would ask to see what their daily, evening, nightly rate is.
Internship here. What's your
Paul does such a good job over there, and I've gotten fitted there for some putters in the past, and it's so cool how all these camera angles they have, all these tight shots they have to see how the ball's coming out. And apparently they just changed his setup overnight. I guess he putted a little bit better, but still work to be done.
Yeah, it's a nice little tease for our upcoming guest, Ryan Gerard, is going to talk Scotty putters this next week. He's going to talk about some cool Keith Mitchell putters. I saw the one that he was telling you about at Finley, and he's like, same thing. Went to the Scotty studio, got it built, and I'm like, man, this thing everything about it looks so perfect. And boy, would I just lose all of my money. Like, we're talking about recovery van. Like, how about a Scotty or a Charlie Hulme putter van? Like, that's where we're approaching with the size of the Tinker collection. So yes, I not if you're putting back, like if you have the day you did at Torrey on Saturday, not a bad place to go on the back end. It's a Scotty studio to get down.
I mean, there's a lot of like positives, I think, for Brooks. It was for Brooks, it always felt like to me with Brooks, maybe you can help me out here, is that he wasn't aware what the word anxiety was. He just never seemed like he ever had a worry in the world. Just a guy who's the most confident dude in the room. And he carried himself that way in interviews with the press for years and years and years on the PGA Tour. And I always felt like at times it was kind of standoffish, never was necessarily super gracious when he spoke. It was just always like, I'm here to win, very much like Tiger and the mentality that he carried for years. Now he would laugh and have some fun, but it was about like who knew Brooks, the personality. And I think that was the thing that we saw this week with him, was just the human element kind of coming out with him, with Brooks, just a little bit more vulnerable. And it kind of did feel a little anxious at times, which I've never seen that side of him. Like he's just feels a little bit more approachable this go around, which I think is good, right? Like I think that's just the nature of life. I think you grow as a person. He's kind of talked about how he's matured, and he credited just having a kid, and that'll mature you up. And I'm like, yes, it will.
Dude, that's exactly like I've said it here on the show about Justin Thomas. I said it about Brooks. Like, I know it sounds like we're beating the same drum over and over again as dads, because it's cliche, because it's our lives that we live. Like, being a dad changes you in a really huge and material way if you go about it, and the way that Brooks and JT, seem to seem to be going about it, which is really caring about it. And so I think those guys, it is cool to see a sort of the way that a personality becomes malleable and the things that start mattering to you. And part of this whole motivation to find a way to play relevant golf again and do it on the PGA Tour was being inspired by crew. That's a super, super cool thing. So let's get into the technical on Brooks's putting, because you noted Saturday's performance, and Brooks said after that round, never felt comfortable on Poe. Editor's note, join the club. You just miss a few and you've got zero confidence. I don't know. Today I felt every 3 or 4 footer was slightly downhill, and I felt like it kind of went a little bit both ways.
Dude, he was hitting the thrust hammer button on Saturday when I was watching.
So,
he was playing more break and hammering it. It was just like, what are we doing here?
That's another perfect segue. I tried to firm them all and take the break out to still be aggressive like I normally am, but it wasn't even hitting the hole.
It was so it was poor stroke mechanics and just no commitment to. Well, he actually was committed to just hammering it. So you got to give him credit there.
All right, so let's talk stroke mechanics here, because we have a video. This is from Potter's Putting on Instagram. I'm going to attempt to pull this up here, and we're going to take a look at this live together. If I can organize this properly. Here we go. Hey, we made it. All right. So this is a look. This is a close up of Brooks' putting. I don't know how old this clip is, but like the mechanics seem to kind of remain the same. And looking at this and then also reflecting on a week where he was, out of the 74 guys that made the cut, he was 74th the strokes game putting. So maybe some work to do.
All right. So you see, like, the most glaring thing at the beginning is that he sets up the golf ball on the toe. And I think most teachers would say, well, that's going to lead to some issues with speed control. But you can see with this stroke, and I've always noticed this, is that when he takes it back, he loops it back to where he finds the center. Now, it appeared to me that it always felt like he set up aimed right. As you can see in that reroute, he gets it back on where that line is with the golf ball to where he's able to center it up. Now, one of the best putters I've ever witnessed in person, Steve Stricker. Mm-hmm. He aimed right, set it up on the toe, had high hands, and was able to deliver consistency. So what does that tell you if you're somebody that also sets it up on the toe or heel? Is that you could still be a good putter, but you got to be able to deliver the face consistently and being able to start the golf ball on line. Now, I always would suggest that it's probably better to not have a loop in your stroke and to not set up the ball on the toe. But if you are able to repeat the stroke mechanics consistently and find the whatever your center of the face is and hit that spot time and again, well, you can make do with it. Now, I would probably argue that there's a better way to do it to be more consistent. And maybe that's kind of what we're dealing with Brooks, and that some surfaces like a Poe, he's just like, I don't really know what to do with my hands here. Ron Burgundy situation.
Yeah, I think it's so interesting, and I'll close this up now, but I mean, it is interesting thinking about a guy who, to your point, has no seeming anxiety. This guy seems bulletproof. He wins 5 majors. He's like Mr. Major, like flips a switch those weeks. And a guy like that, when putting is maybe the most mental of all the aspects of the game of golf, where yips can show up, things like that, okay, if a guy's got a home cooked stroke, he better be built like Brooks Koepka or it's not going to work, right? So now you're in a place where, I know he said more of the nerves were meant towards the media and things like that, but he's kind of coming back. And I'm wondering if, is there a connection here between the things he's feeling and the sort of anxiety he's feeling and maybe some of the stroke mechanics that led to this week's performance? And if so, like, is it mallet time? Is it broomstick time?
We're not.
We're 1 week. We're 1 week into this. I get we're 1 week into this, but like, I'm just wondering, when he goes back and evaluates this, is he saying, okay, it's already time to kind of try something different, or it's like, 1 week we're gonna throw it out the window?
No, this is just getting back to just owning your mechanics and owning your setup. Torrey Pines, it's difficult inside of 10 feet, and they didn't have a ton of wind this week, which is why I think you saw the scores getting so low with guys having a little bit more control of their golf ball into the greens, but also on the greens. Last year when Harris English won at 8 under, the issue was on the greens inside of 10 feet, how challenging it was. Over the course of history at Torrey Pines, inside of 10 feet has been one of the biggest indicators of playing well there. And Brooks just had a terrible week by every way to measure it on the greens. It doesn't mean he's not going to putt really well next week on a grass that he's really familiar with and has putted tremendously well throughout his career in Phoenix. So I think he gets it solved, and I think he's going to contend in Phoenix, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean that's he at the end of the press conference where he talked about not enjoying putting on Poe at Torrey, he said he loves the greens at TPC Scottsdale. Of course, won there twice. His most recent appearance tied for third in 2022, and in all 5 of his appearances there, he's had positive strokes gained putting. So sets up nicely for him next week, Smylie. And as we see Role Player Pod comment here, this thus concludes Golf Sicko time, at least on the topic of Brooks Koepka's putting stroke. As we continue with some Farmer storylines before we move on to a big story away. Well, not away from the PGA Tour anymore. It's we're going to talk a little Patrick Reed. Looking forward to that. But let's talk about a couple guys who missed the cut this week, and we'll start, of course, with Xander Schauffele. His PGA Tour leading cut made streak ends at 72. The last time he was not playing on the weekend was the 2022 Masters. Pretty incredible streak, the 5th longest in PGA Tour history. And of course, it is Scotty who has the next longest streak at 65 made cuts. Tiger's record, of course, 142 made cuts in a row. Just looking at Xander, we started last year with Xander coming off a 2 major win year in 2024 with that injury that really kind of delayed his start to the season. And then the observation you made was the putting, which was usually so elite, just wasn't there. There was maybe some equipment-based stuff on the loft, on his putter, things like that. We kind of talked on the side this week, just looking at his swing right now, and you saw some stuff there that maybe, I don't know if it gives you a pause, but just it's a swing's in a place that it hasn't been in the past. Is it fair to say that?
Well, to me, it just looks like with the driver that it's getting inside and across the line. I know that's something he was kind of working on, fixing a little bit last year, and it just looked to me that it got a little bit over exaggerated this week, and there's a reason why that he's hitting it so dang hard. I mean, it's 185 to 190 ball speed, and even in cooler temperatures, that's what he's hitting. So it just kind of tells you that I think the club needs to be moving a little bit, probably straighter back, probably a little bit of less across the line. I think that would help with a little bit of his accuracy problems he's had off the tee. The iron game, awesome last year, just not very accurate with the driver. He had a great Bethpage, but there was no rough at Bethpage. I'm not sure how many fairways he had, but it didn't matter that week. and he's such a good iron player, and the putter was pretty decent that week too. He only had 8 fairways at Torrey Pines. Good luck playing the weekend when you're doing that over 2 days. So that was the kiss of death for him. I know the stat with the made cut thing, it honestly in the signature event era feels a little kind of, I don't know how you want to take that stat as like, where does it stand as great stats on the PGA Tour? It's not all full field events. It feels a little bit kind of less. I don't know what your take is on that, but still very, very impressive. The consistency that he's shown over the course of his career, really since he got on the PGA Tour, has been top notch. And I know this is not the start he wanted to get off to, and he talked about it after Friday when he missed the cut. It's like, hey, I had some equipment stuff that popped up that I haven't been able to quite sort through. And it felt like it cost him some strokes. He's going to have to go. He said he was going to work on it this weekend. He's like, I just took 4 or 5 months off. I don't have time to go sit on my tail. Got to go back to work, get this thing sorted out. So that's obviously frustrating as a player when you feel like you had a whole off season to kind of figure out the equipment to show up and it be not quite right. I think it was a shaft.
Did you note the club?
It was a shaft.
Okay.
It was a certain type of shaft that he switched into. Maybe it was something that was a little bit stiffer, would be my guess, because I think he felt like he got too fast last year. So maybe a little bit of combination of just getting the driver swing a little bit tighter, get that the driver shaft, something that's coming out the correct window for him, and then he's off and running again.
That's interesting. Yeah, I was trying to kind of find something here, and most recent I saw
Yeah.
is in like that, like a Diamana
Yeah,
whiteboard TX,
you
which
know
is
that's
like
not my category. You
it's
know that's
rebar.
I have
That's
no idea
interesting.
what that.
Yeah.
That's Spanish. You just spoke Spanish, Baxter.
The other notable miscut this week, of course, was many people's pre-tournament favorite, a guy we just had on the show here recently, was Ludvig Aberg, and
It's surprising, right?
really surprising, but a couple things to add context here is he withdrew from the Amex last week with illness, and we're all thinking, here we go again. Ludwig just gets the same bug at the same time of year. Yeah, in fact, I got a version of Ludwig Aberg bug this last week. If he got anything close to what I did, I'm not sure how he teed it up at all this week. But so he's a little bit under the weather, maybe heading into the week. We saw how that was something that spanned across multiple weeks last year when he got sick at the Farmers Insurance Open. And then he goes 78-72 to miss the cut at 6 over. And we were texting about this while watching the coverage on Thursday, just trying to understand what was going on there, because it was that same kind of short, high, spinny right miss that he talked about hating. And specifically what he said was, I have to play with a closed face because I need to feel like I can really kind of get through it, make a hard turn with my pelvis to cut the ball and really kind of hit it through the window I want to see, instead of hitting it kind of high and spinning short and right. So the first thing I'm thinking, as a layman, is like, okay, it must be something to do with the face. But you notice something else that obviously affects the pelvic turn, but maybe you thought was more related to why he was missing in that fashion.
Yeah, well, of course, the face is ultimately what's going to decide the shape of what
Right.
that shot's going to do. So you're not wrong in that the face most likely was open to a degree to whatever the path he was swinging at. But I don't know. I think with Ludwig, it's interesting because we talked about this with him. Is that he's got a bit of a bump into his right side.
Yep.
And you're just not seeing like a ton of hip turn. So when I looked at that video back at the Tour Championship and I asked for his commentary on it, he's like, "Oh, I hate that. I don't
hate
like
that
going to
video."
that."
Yeah.
Now he's still able to hit good golf shots, but the miss would be in this is that, like, when you don't have a ton of hip depth and you start getting steep at all in the downswing, like that's going to be the miss. It's just a spinny right shot. So it's interesting, like, because he hits the shot on 15 with the spinny right thing on Friday, and then also on the next hole on 16, which is a difficult par 3, gets up there and roasts a forehand at like 3 feet. So the good stuff is in there. But when he was playing his best, when he got onto the PGA Tour and he's competing on the DP, ends up earning that Ryder Cup pick from Luke Donald, dude, his iron game was elite. Elite. Now he's a very good driver of the golf ball, has been since he's been on the PGA Tour, and that's always going to be his thing, right? It's his good iron, or his good driving play. But I think his iron play is probably the one skill that's dropped the most, that's probably been holding him back from being what we all think he can be, which is a consistent top 5 player, top 10 player in the world. I think you've just seen just ebbs and flows with Ludwig right now, of like, driver seems to kind of always be there. Iron game's sometimes there. We saw the short game wasn't there early last year to start the season. It got better as the year went on. Putter seems to always be pretty consistent and good. Good enough, certainly, to win him any golf tournament that he plays in. So driver and putter, I've always felt like is the gravy, right? If you're good at those things, like, you could figure out everything else.
Yeah.
And so he's just got to get a little bit more consistent in that approach game.
Yeah. It makes a ton of sense. I mean, like, for someone that, like, it looks so simple when it's working, then if one of those small, simple ingredients is off, then that's seemingly how you lose it. Right?
I didn't ask him about this, but if you've ever met Ludwig in person, he's probably 6'3", 6'4", he's a tall guy. And I asked him, I was like, "Hey, how long are your irons?" Just thinking that they were probably half inch over. He's like, "They're standard length." It's just crazy to me. Like, just long arms, he stands, fairly close to, a little close to the ball, like not super bent at the knees, his butt's not sticking out. And just seems like his arms are just hanging right under him perfectly. But it's interesting, right? Like, you would think he would have longer irons, but he doesn't. It's just, I think, very, very good setup and posture. And I think I have half inch over are my irons, and my posture's needs help. Sit too
Well,
much, it causes a lot of inefficiencies in my swing.
That's what's so bizarre about it is that when when he makes a swing, even if like, to the trained eye, obviously you can tell there's a little bit of sway, or it's like every swing looks so compact and efficient. And you're like, oh, that's on the flag. It's like, no, it's actually 20 yards short and right. You're like, okay, I didn't see that one coming. And it really is, a matter of, to your point, like the guy was one of the most accurate drivers of the golf ball at Texas Tech when he came out on tour. And one of these things where if he has it all going, he's going to be hard. He's going to be one of the best players in the world. He's going to be hard to beat. But like that one little minute little piece of his swing being off, then the whole thing kind of can unravel in the fashion that it did this last week. Which
it
is
definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
So.
It felt like to me too, and I'm looking at some data right now to kind of back it up. Left flags. He's consistently either short siding himself there, like just that. I don't think he's quite trusting that shot into flags are on the left side of the green. Much better to flags are on the right side.
A few other from Farmers, Smylie. I'm awesome seeing Joel Damon in the mix on the weekend. Obviously, maybe wish he played a little bit better on Sunday, but to go from an alternate to being in the final group both days on the weekend, huge as he kind of tries to get his full status back, right? Because right now he's playing out of that, I think the 111 to 125 category.
Yeah,
an alternate to start the week, right? Gets in this tournament late, and then ends up where he does. Thought it was hilarious. We learned via Colt Nose on the broadcast today. And by the way, congrats on week 1 in the booth. Colt. That Joel earned a sponsor exemption into the WM next week by writing the letter to the tournament director on a polo shirt, and a nod to him taking off his shirt and spinning it around his head on the 16th green a few years ago. So what I wanted to do, Smylie, is just get your thoughts on Joel. And then just was looking at that Aeon swing, that swing 5. So I think Joel is 11th in that category heading into this next weekend, is in the tournament. So has a chance to get into that top 5. And then the group that finishes the WM in the top 5, of course, get into the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am and the Genesis Invitational. And then maybe talking about the guys at the top of that group who shot 65 today, finished tied for second. Pearson Coody. I mean, just lighting it up right now.
We have been on that. It's not new news. It's old news. This is
written. Saying it.
Pearson Coody's
he's
winning on the PGA Tour this season. It's probably going to happen sooner than later. Could be next week in Phoenix for all we know. But yeah, Joel, great week. Being in the final group on Saturday and Sunday, it's a big spot. Maybe a little bit of less pressure that you're not trying to necessarily win the golf. I guess he was, but when you're that far back, you're just playing your own game at that point. You're just trying to get second place.
But they asked him about it. He said, I think my only chance is if Justin Rose sleeps through his alarm or something.
That was great. But yeah, I love the writing on a polo to the WMM tournament director, the Thunderbirds. It's very hard to write, by the way, on a polo. That's not easy to do. I've done that before. Well done. Was it a short? Was this an essay? Or was it a couple words like, "Hey, hope to see you there, JD," or was it did he spend hours writing on this polo?
See, I was thinking about the mechanics of this, and I was thinking about maybe his apparel partner, and if it was me, I would have typed the letter and had them screen print on a polo, and then I would have gotten a Sharpie out and I would have signed my name there, and I would have maybe written something witty in the first couple lines about, hey, would have loved to handwritten this whole thing on the shirt, but obviously it's very hard to write on shirts, etc., because you really can't write. But what are you gonna write in a Sharpie on a shirt? It's like, hey, can I get into the tournament?
I've signed plenty, and it's just not easy.
It's hard. It's not fun. Yeah,
you too, huh?
Arts and crafts with the kids, things of that nature.
I love you. You're just kind of playing along with it. Just like,
it is hard to write on shirts. I mean, everyone, lots of people try to write on shirts. You guys ever in college have one of those the parties where you wore a white shirt to the party, and then you could throw different chalk colors on it. You write on it, stuff like that. No, just me.
I feel like that would get out of hand quick.
Look at this. Hey, Role Player Pod. It's in the mail. It's gonna take me a really long time to sign it though, because hard to sign polos.
No, you have tons of experience, I thought.
Yeah, well, so. Moving on to the next segment of our show, which is a review of maybe, like, in terms of depth, our best one and done week ever. Although, like, in amazing fashion,
We hit the dartboard. We're just peppering them.
We hit the dartboard. By the way, here
Except Rezzy, did not get Rezzy in there.
Tyler Harrington, White Lies Party. That's the name of the thing I was looking for. It was not, as someone else asked in the comments, a wet t-shirt party. Not that. So the four I suggested were Pearson Coody, Ryan Gerard, Maverick McNeely, and Cameron Young.
It's a good week, bud.
But I picked Cameron Young, who finished the worst out of all.
It's all right. When you burn Cam Young early especially the Farmers Insurance, which has 500 points, in less points overall. I mean, it could be only his first, only top 25 of the year. You never know.
Yeah.
You might have got him at a high there.
I want to break this computer right now. Smylie suggested Rasmussen, Yurgard Peterson, Patrick Rogers, Jason Day, and Jake Knapp. How about Jake Knapp coming to a little strong finish there?
First top 5 of the season. I needed it. Now in a really good spot in the FedEx Cup to work my way up the board, and I'm feeling good about next week.
I love it. I just had to note that, and a real shame. I should have ridden with Pearson. I knew it was Pearson. Whole time.
I'm addicted to one and done right now. Like
It's-
I am. My algorithm takes me to all the one and done chats, and everybody was able to relate to the feeling I had with Max Grazerman after taking him the week prior.
Yeah.
Goes out and shoots nothing. He had the miss in the cut, shot 6 over the following day, which was
so happy he missed the cut.
I was not happy, but I was also like, okay, at least I'm on the right side of history with Knapp here, because I was thinking Grazerman was going to win by 14.
There is like a sick behavior embedded in the one and done where you're like you're rooting for the guy that you suggested but didn't pick to like play worse than the guy you picked. Like I couldn't even be happy today. I'm like, I told all these people to pick these guys. I didn't even pick them. What's wrong with me?
Camp Bianca just got off to a good start. Like T22 is a good start in the PGA Tour. It's not a bad week, but for you, I mean, you might as well just go back to the drawing boards.
It should have been a top 20. He had 204 yards into the green on 18 and made par from there. I mean, it's just
I've hit it in that little puddle on short left of 18.
It's unfortunate. Highly unfortunate. Okay, now we are going in a different direction. We're going to stay on the PGA Tour by virtue of LIV Golf and the DP World Tour, because Smylie, if we were sitting here last week, we're recording our recap of the Amex, and I said, in between now and we're sitting here again in a week's time, there are going to be 5 articles written on PGAtour.com about Patrick Reed. What would your reaction have been to that?
I would have said, I mean, is there a funeral? Is that the only thing you could say?
Yeah, I guess that was a pretty morbid tee up. Yeah, that might have been about the only.
It's an honest answer, man. I don't know what you want from me.
It's truly insane. We had round by round recaps on PGAtour.com of his play on the DP World Tour and Bahrain this week. In fact, like someone else, he lost in a playoff, and the headline of the article on Sunday was not "This guy won." It was like Patrick Reed loses in playoff. Like, good golly, they're really bringing the every last drop out of the storyline. If you're not up on Lay's Patrick Reed storyline, he's of course, by virtue of winning the most recent event in Dubai last week, I think it's the Hero Dubai last week. He earns his DP World Tour membership and is going to play on that tour the rest of the season with a look towards earning his tour card on the PGA Tour in 2027.
Help me here, like starting the year at DP, winning, and then second, like how close is he to locking this thing up already?
Pretty dang close. And either way, this announcement, which we'll get into in a second here, he is going to play on the PGA Tour in 2027. It just depends on which category he's playing out of. He's either playing out of past champions, or he's going to improve his status by finishing top 10 on the DP World Tour. But it's a matter of, serving a 1-year suspension. Not even a suspension. It's just like you can't play within 1 year of the last conflicting event, unless, of course, you have this returning member category that's Koepka, Rahm, Cam Smith, and Bryson DeChambeau. But for everyone else, it's that 1 year delay, and he's not subject to anything else because he resigned his membership when he left. So here's what we're going to do. we're gonna rewind, Smylie. We're gonna do a little Patrick Reed timeline for everyone to get him caught up on when he left the PGA Tour for LIV, what he said then, some things that happened in between, and where we are now with Patrick Reed. Okay,
I needed the strawberry refresher.
Did you see TC Nolan up at a great strawberry refresher bit this last week?
That's good.
Really, really good. I didn't even know about the no inclusions thing. Like you just get the essence of the juice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I will never drink one though. Although I might drink one if they didn't have the strawberry bits in it. I think that's the thing that's holding me up right now. We gotta get Jack's gotta get big straw back on
I was gonna say.
Yeah, we got to get him in to comment on. I'm sure he's done no inclusions at some point in time. Okay, so June 2022, Patrick Reed signs with LIV Golf. Set to debut in Portland. He says it's refreshing to see team golf again. Portland can't get here fast enough. He obviously lists as reasons why he left. He says it's the best decision for my family. I can compete and spend time with my kids, which is unique given the amount of times he likes to play not only on LIV Golf but many other tours in the world. So I'll take him at his word. But this is a guy who is a little bit of an Iron Man. So in that same month, after going to LIV, he resigns his PGA Tour membership. So this is a very important distinction here because there are a number of other guys who did not resign their PGA Tour membership. So that is beginning of the timeline, June 2022. Now we're going to play a little game called 3 Lawsuits. Okay, it's very important that you know what each of these 3 different lawsuits are and which ones Patrick Reed was a party to and which ones he was not a party to. So let's begin with 11 LIV Golf players who still retain their PGA Tour membership, suing the PGA Tour in August 2022 for antitrust violations regarding player suspensions, okay? And that group of original plaintiffs was Phil Mickelson, Bryson DeChambeau, Taylor Gooch, Hudson Swafford, Matt Jones, Abraham Ancer, Carlos Ortiz, Ian Poulter, Pat Perez, Jason Kokrak, and Peter Uihlein. Not Patrick Reed, okay? There was even Taylor Gooch, Hudson Swafford, Matt Jones initially sought a temporary restraining order to let them play in the 2022 FedEx Cup playoffs. Then some time passes, really just a couple of months, and Mickelson, Poulter, Ancer, Ortiz, Perez, and Kokrak request to be removed as plaintiffs, leaving DeChambeau, Jones, and Uihlein as the final players involved. And then that litigation, of course, gets dropped in 2023, where there was the big announcement that there was going to be not a merger, but a partnership between, at the time, the PIF and the PGA Tour. So that is one lawsuit, okay? Separate lawsuit. Patrick Reed files a $750 million defamation suit against Brandel Chambly and Golf Channel. The main kind of thrust of this suit is that he's been treated unfairly over a number of allegations around cheating. The 2019 Hero World Challenge bunker incident was probably the biggest one that really kind of set off the whole thing with Brandel.
Well, you can check the tape there. I don't know why we're doing 750 with when we got the tape right here. Tape. Should we just roll it back? Do we need to roll it back?
we can just all look at. Although there was allegations that footage was doctored. For Golf Channel.
Stop! Stop.
So his attorney in that case is a guy named Larry Klayman, who I think has since either been suspended or disbarred or something of that nature, right? So separate, that's that lawsuit, okay? No involvement with the PGA Tour, but the lawyer is Larry Klayman. Separate of that lawsuit, Larry Klayman on his own, just filing his own lawsuit for himself and other golf fans and consumers under Florida competition law.
This guy sounds like a clique.
Loves to file a lawsuit, this Larry Klayman guy. He had an antitrust trade regulation lawsuit against the PGA Tour. Okay, so that gets us to,
which was a big conversation. It seemed like that was something that we didn't know if they had grounds. You know, at time we were told by who was the guy that we had on.
Matt,
where did we find him?
Matt. Golly, I feel so bad.
Antitrust lawyer. Bring him on. And boy, did I felt as out of place as I ever have asking him questions about this situation that the PGA Tour is in. He's like, they're not in a good spot. Like, you can kind of poke holes in all this. And so I could see that maybe there was a case to be made. And it was by our friend, what's his name? Larry?
Matt. Oh, well, Larry Klayman was filed this lawsuit. So here we go. So now we get to, this is January 2023, Dubai Desert Classic. Rory McIlroy's on the range, hitting balls. Patrick Reed tries to go up to him and say hello to him. Rory ignores him, and Patrick Reed flicks a tee at him. Okay. So Rory afterwards asked about it. He said, I got a subpoena on Christmas Eve. If the roles were reversed and I'd thrown that tee, I'd expect a lawsuit. Important note, the subpoena in this instance was from the Larry Klayman only lawsuit, the antitrust lawsuit that Klayman had filed separate of Patrick Reed. Okay. And Patrick Reed also was asked about it. Since my tees are Team Aces live tees, I flicked him one. If you act like an immature child, you might as well be treated like one. All right. So that's the lawsuit picture, the tee gate, the last real kind of
that stinks. That stinks.
And a guy that he's got.
Did Rory see the tee?
I at the time, the way I remember is he did not see the tee.
What would he have done if he saw the tee? I mean, it's a range, right? Like, what's going to happen here? They're just going to get into it on the range? Who you taking, by the way?
P. Reed, Rory? Man, how tall is P. Reed?
They're probably similar-ish heights.
See, P. Reed looks
They're
like
probably
a bulldog.
5'8", 5'9".
P. Reed looks like a bulldog, but Rory's got a lot of bulldog in him. Plus, like, I've seen like Rory in the gym. Like, this guy throws up weight.
So you're taking Roars?
I think I'm taking Roars. But I wouldn't put. Well, I don't want to get sued. I don't know. Whatever the rules are, I can see one of the two competitors taking some liberties within the structure of that competition. I'll leave it at that. I mean, we got to know where we're. I don't want to see it revived. So.
Okay, so let's summarize this. So we got 3 lawsuits.
Okay, so that's
and I asked for this mainly because I wanted to just have a good refresher on Patrick Reed and in all of this, just to have the correct opinion on him coming back to the PGA Tour and how I felt about it. Because we all remember what it was like when he left. You're like, okay, there goes one of the villains. We didn't care about Patrick Reed. He was Captain America. We liked him on Team USA, but there was too much I didn't like, or maybe there was times in which you like loved Patrick Reed. And that's what made good TV, was having a player that was kind of up and down often. And so when this situation kind of started to develop, and these quotes that you kind of read this past week, where I was like, maybe he would come back. And a lot of times when these LIV players are in contention on the DP World Tour, for the most part, I'm cheering for the other guy to win, just because I don't want to deal with the LIV bots online about what they're going to say about see what they're doing. And like when Patrick Reed won, I was like, great, now we got another week of this. And then the quotes, it was like, oh, well. And then you started thinking more about it. And if going back to the LIV Golf Tour was potentially an option he was considering not taking, you're like, wait, is there a way? Yes, he could get a DP World Tour PGA Tour card. We've been complaining about these 10 cards, but now I'm like, yes, we can get him back. So again, the PGA Tour, from the way I look at it, I think most people look at it this way. They have found that the more players that they can get back under their umbrella, the better it is for the PGA Tour, especially Americans. Is that a little safe to say right now, starting with Brooks? I mean, John Rahm would be obviously one of the biggest fishes you can get, but Bryson didn't take the bait. Neither did Cam Smith. He didn't know the fish was even out there on the line. He was he was reeling, but he was actually reeling another fish. So I don't know. I had mixed opinions, but now I'm under the opinion of, okay, that's just another guy who was a fan of LIV when he left and never really felt like he was going to be a player to come back. I felt like he was into the team golf. He was never going to leave. But now I'm like, hey, that's another asset gone for LIV, which is good for the PGA Tour.
I think, and obviously it was a long and troubled relationship, at least for the end. I mean, really for a lot of the LIV guys. Remember, Bryson was that way on the way out. But with Patrick Reed, just all the stuff with whether or not his wife Justine was running a Twitter account and just the rules officials run-ins and things like that, where you're thinking, there's no way this guy could come back. But you never say never today's day and age with golf, because, the siding of the family and being the traditionalist and being born to play on the PGA Tour, these are all things he released in his statement, were this driving forces and the reason why he wanted to come back and do this. And I think it is crazy to think about this and say this, but I think right now Patrick Reed is more competitive than Cameron Smith. Like, I really think right now, and he's certainly in better form right now. 29th, he's 29th in the OWGR, probably goes up even further after making it to a playoff in the DP World Tour this last week. Now, I know the OWGR doesn't properly represent Cam Smith's playing quality because he's not earning points for playing on LIV, but I think if you just watch the golf, I mean, to be fair,
I think they're
I'm not
similar.
watching.
I think they're similar players. Like, I think they both have
Yeah.
top 10 short games. I think Patrick Reed and Cam Smith, no doubt, top 10 short games in the game. Charlie, ball striking, I think very hit or miss with both of them. I think their iron game, when it's good, they can compete. And if they find fairways like what's his face, Patrick Reed did, he was hitting that like weird spinny cut at the Masters. Even the finish he had just looked awkward. Find a win a major. That's how good these guys' short game is. But the one difference I see between those two guys is that one in Patrick Reed has always been a competitor. Guy competes, whether you agree or disagree with what's happened in his over the course of his career. You cannot question that guy's want and will to try to win and do the best that he can possibly do every single day and compete. So you have to give him that. You've seen it happen at the Ryder Cups. He was honestly, when he stopped being on these teams, you started to see the juice kind of die down a little bit because he's such an antagonist type of figure for the USA team. And he's desperate to get back and play in one of those. And now you look at the two players who are going to be heading back, and Patrick Reed and Brooks Koepka. Those two guys are both just competitors. And I think when you look at the LIV Golf schedule, or just the schedule, whether it be where they play or just how much do they want it, like that's the biggest question.
That I think that is the most salient point in this whole thing is like, you can't lose guys like that if you want to. If the drive of what you're trying to do with your league is make it seem like a competitive golf league, like those guys are important. Those guys are important not only in an individual context, but if you have a guy like John Rahm, who we know is driven in the exact same way, wanting to tee it up against a field that feels really. Now, I'm not saying these guys don't want to win on LIV Tour. I'm just saying that there is a different sort of mental echelon for a guy like a Patrick Reed or a Brooks Koepka that it's just hard to replace that, and it's so on a week in, week out basis. I just don't know. You're almost forced into an identity shift. It just feels like a lot of the story of LIV has just been wanting to be this thing, but then over time being kind of forced into a corner, being forced to kind of pivot and reposition to better fit, something that maybe they didn't set out to be, but they have to be if they want to differentiate from the PGA Tour. And I think that helps more. It helps you better brand yourself in a marketplace, but I think it also shrinks your total, possible viewership or consumership, because you're like, now you're this, like, you're the fun music thing, you're like a bunch of guys like to hang out and do fun social media videos. That's a cool thing in a vacuum, but like, is it the most competitive play? Is it going to attract competitive players? Is it going to get like all these guys are trying to bring over to get OWGR points? Like it's definitely not helping in that case. And I think and I think even if you're looking at like brand growth, like a guy like Bryson DeChambeau, there is nothing that LIV Golf has done to grow Bryson's brand since he's gone over there. Like, guaranteed. The only things that's happened to grow Bryson's brand since he's gone there is winning US Open and YouTube.
Yes.
So
that's why
like,
people go and watch him is because they watch him on their TVs every night with YouTube.
So if you can't go over there to compete and feel like you're challenged, prepare for majors, and if you can't go over there to grow your brand, like, what are we doing? It really just boils down to what a lot of people have said the entire time. It's just you go for the money, and that's fine too. Yeah. I'm not begrudging anyone's choice in that respect, but it's the losses like this as they start to pile up. It's going to be tough for them. Really good.
Well, I think when that pathway kind of opened up for Patrick, and he's like, "Wow, I imagine it probably took him back a little bit, because now you see the board. You're like, oh, I can do this, 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 and this, and next thing you know, I'll be on the PGA Tour." It takes you back to when you're kind of just getting started. And Patrick, if you remember his story, how he got to the PGA Tour, was a Monday qualifying machine. Arguably the GOAT of Monday qualifying. If you go look at the amount of Monday qualifiers he played and success rate in getting through, insane. Maybe you can dig in on the stats there on how much money he made, because I'm sure he got his PGA Tour card through that pathway, because I don't think I remember him on the Corn Ferry Tour. No, he never played on that tour, because he was, I mean, it was Monday, like if it wasn't a top 10, he was going back to do the next Monday, and then he would get in, make the cut. It was just incredible.
This is so good. He in 2012, he successfully qualified for 6 out of 8 events he entered that year.
It's just stupid. People have no
rounds.
idea.
No practice
That's
rounds.
probably one of the best golf stats
Wow.
ever. Just with like the amount of odds that they're stacked against you. 4 with potentially 200 guys with 1 round and different tee times, different weather. 6 out of 8. What?
It's
That's
silly.
that's
It's silly.
hitting. That's full court shots. You've made 6 out of 8. I mean, it's just stupid.
Yeah, it's and I'm sure we'll continue to talk about this, and as I believe the OG Jack in here noted, I got to go find where his comment is. Yes, the returning member program tomorrow. I guess depending on when you're watching this, Monday, February 2nd, is the cutoff date for those last 3 guys to return. I don't think any of them are going. I was thinking maybe Raw might be the only one they'll be interested in, but those guys are staying. And
Bryson was already there working on his game at the Saudi event. I guess they play under the lights this week.
Riyadh. Yeah, I guess so. But certainly want to keep tabs on those 2 guys coming back, and we'll just kind of see what this means because I think at this point, the one thing you can say pretty definitively is I don't see it coming together of the 2 leagues. I mean, it's so wild to look back at that timeline.
And boy, did we question the tour for not trying to go and make a deal. It's like money's going to win. And that's what everybody was saying, was that money was going to win. Gosh, there's got to be some people walking tall in Ponte Vedra now. And and they've made some great moves. And I think they've been fair thus far. I think the biggest question mark will be with the players that fall outside of Patrick Reed. Like what's going to happen with everybody else that comes. It seems like it's a year suspension. That seems to be the protocol here. Maybe it's more for other guys. I don't know.
I think it depends on how they handled it, right? Like, did you resign your membership? Like, if you're part of the 11 names I read that were part of that lawsuit, you can forget about it, right?
Resigning your membership is the most important thing you could have done in all of this. If you kept your membership, that's how we're in this Wesley Bryan situation that people just don't understand. But if he would have resigned from the PGA Tour, like his status isn't like what events he's going to get in or not going to change. He could have just said, all right, I'm resigning from the PGA Tour, and then reapply for the PGA Tour next year if he just didn't want to play the rest of the year. But that's just, that's an argument for another day.
Well, we'll close the show, Smylie, by heading to Scottsdale for a little preview of the WM Phoenix Open. Just going to read you some notables here in the field this week. Of the OWGR top 10, you got Scotty, Xander, JJ Spawn, Ben Griffin, and then a handful of other notable names: Victor Hovland, Hideki Matsuyama, Colin Morikawa, Cam Young, Matt Fitzpatrick, Sam Burns, Minwoo Lee, Wyndham Clark, and then
the fields have been nice.
Boys,
start the
Ricky
year, dude.
Fowler and Jordan Spieth in the field this week too. So
good fields. We had a good field at
really.
Sony, Amex, Farmers. I mean, guys are playing a lot early in the year. I really do like the storylines with these open field events. Like I want us to expand these signature events to bigger fields, because I really do like the Joel Damon story, the Andrew Putnam story. It's part of the PGA Tour and what makes it so good. So I don't know where they're going to eventually end up on all of this for 2026. What year are we in? Are we in 26 now?
We're currently in.
God. Dad brain at the end of the episode kicking in. 27 where they net out. But I love that it's just another, 100. Is it one? They probably cut down this field. Is it 120?
20 something, I think.
Because they never would never finish in Phoenix, and Sony was the same way. So I imagine Sony and Phoenix are probably.
Is 128? Is that right? What is it? I always forget that it was like.
It used to be 144. Used to be 144.
144, and then like there's 132, and there's like a 120 something. Maybe it's 120. It's like 120, 132, 144. I think of the different splits.
Which is a great number. It's a good number. 120 is a great number. I'm excited. Weather looks awesome. It's gonna be hot. I'll be in the booth next week for Golf Channel, so I'll be out there, ready to rock and roll, man.
Love that.
Is Rosie playing? Rosie's taking the week off.
I did not see him.
He's probably
in the field.
Off. I don't think he normally plays there.
Are you taking Scotty or the field this week?
Dang,
it's crazy. You got to think about it, right?
Taking the field. Just 50-50 chance, right? Is that how the math works?
With Scotty, I'm not even sure it's 50-50 anymore. Well, that's what we got, Smylie. That was a nice little robust stream. Good to be back on the stream. Good to be back with the with the Minimal House Fives. And I think we're doing this next week. We're doing this next week, and we're doing this on a Monday. So I don't know if this is gonna be the same crowd. We got a little Sunday night crowd here, but if you all want to hang with us Monday, kind of like late morning. I think we're looking like 10 Central on Monday on the back end of the WM Phoenix Open, 11 Eastern. So look out for some tune-in updates on that. And just appreciate y'all hanging as always. We did Hot Pockets today. We did a whole bunch of fun stuff today.
We had a 3-year-old birthday party today.
We did.
That too.
I'm surprised we're still standing. Yeah.
We're good. We're in a good spot.
Okay. We're good. Very good.
Yeah, Justin Rose made it nice and easy. Just every hour tune in and be like, all right, 7, 6, 8. All right, this is nice. I'm not missing anything today.
The best gift that you got today was just not having to really watch too much of the coverage today because it was already over. So
that's right.
Good hang with you all as always. Looking forward to doing this next week, and we'll talk to you right back here very soon.
Peace.
See you later. Oh, there it is.
We'll see you next week on the Golf Channel. This has been The Smylie Show.